Leasing economics and the common concessions you take from that's a great note. So we've kind of talked about how leases are potentially structured for a rental rate basis from the landlord perspective. Things that you can look for concessions, and these are just kind of like the simple ones that you should probably always look at, are number one, your asking rate. So just like you have comps for a recently sold property, there are also comps that are available for recently transacted leasing deals, and those give you a very good barometer of what the landlord's willingness is to rent your property at a specific price. And another interesting one is if there's a building right next door to you owned by a different landlord, you can use that as a bit of leverage, just like you could in the purchase of a home or industrial property or commercial property, to use that and say, hey, there's vacancy next door and the landlord gave me this price, and we want you to be able to match it or come close to it, and we can make a deal. So number one, as far as concessions are concerned, is simply reducing your per square foot asking rate. Number two, and most people who have entered into leases already know this, is free rent. So, depending on the tolerances of the landlord and how much they want you, they will give you, a couple of months of free rent for your lease. As a general rule, most leases are, and this is also up to negotiation, but most leases are 3, 5, and 7 years. You can reasonably expect in this market to receive 1 month of free rent per every year you're leasing. So if you're in a 3-year lease, at a minimum, you should probably be able to get 3 months of free rent. And then the last one, and the most expensive initial capital outlay for a landlord, and this is something where a lot of tenants may not see the immediate value, but it's really a huge thing, is the TI allowance. So, we work on deals all the time, but to add a couple of additional offices or relight a place and repaint a place, those all take a lot of money, and that's money that the landlord has to put up upfront in order to make the place more desirable and basically build it out to the specifications of the tenant. Now, there are certain ways they can recapture those costs. The most obvious one being just extending the lease, so there's more cash flow in place for them to make back the amount of money they put forth. But there are significant costs associated with building out an office that people don't really think. Re-electrifying it. Title 24 is a big one too. There's California energy compliance codes that dictate, if you move a wall from a building that's already existing, already coded, you have to go through and do all these energy efficiency things, which ultimately is great and enhances the value of the building, but in the short term, it's very expensive. Reducting. So, people don't really think about the fact that, if you move around a bunch of offices, you have to put in ductwork at the top of the below the ceiling to get the HVAC or to get the air conditioning running. And then lighting is the last one, and then paint and carpet. So all those things that are expensive, and if you can negotiate those plus a reduced asking rate plus free rent into an effective lease package, you've really won.